Okay, so this is Monday, November 11th, day 22, week 12, IT Essentials. We looked at the academic IT program, we talked about operating systems, and we did prep for the install. On Wednesday, we're going to do the installs. Do some configurations. And then we have the Chapter 9 exam to take. And we can review a little bit for that. So we talked about some of the key items that make up a computer. We talked about the hardware initially, but these are all things we covered. So we have a processor, we have memory, we have storage. Our processors, at least just the clock speed. Talk about inside here we have an electronic bus that everything communicates with. We have some type of network connectivity, and we have all kinds of I/O. Input, output to items connected. So you can think of that here as the motherboard and those particular things on there. Then we talked about the OS as an executable. So your operating system's sitting here on the hard drive. So then when you boot, it's loaded into memory. So we can think of our operating system being here in memory. And the kernel of the operating system, the brains, the main part of the operating system, and then lots of processes that work with the kernel. Then you might load an app, and that uses up part of memory. You might have data tied to the app. You might load another app like Putty, that uses part of memory. And so we start using up memory with lots of different processes running. So a program would be stored on a hard drive. When you bring that program into memory and start running it, then we have, you could think of it as a process. A process is some code from a program that's actually running. And so then we can have lots of those in memory. What keeps track of what is being sent to the processor to get processed and back, and where, for example, all the data is being stored? Well, the operating system does that. We talked about some old versions, like old versions of Windows, like XP 2000. Some of those are probably still being used because of legacy equipment in manufacturing, both small and large, that it would be too expensive to change, so they keep functioning with these. And then they typically isolate them, so they're not connected to a network because of security issues. We have all different kinds of flavors of Linux, and then we also have Mac operating system. So they looked up and spent a little time researching operating systems. So we take things from memory, put them out in storage, bring them from storage back into memory. And what keeps track of all that? The operating system. We have a variety of user interfaces. The two major things we look at is a GUI, a graphical interface, or a command line interface. Command line interface, we have some type of shell that we communicate with, and then it communicates with the OS. I reviewed a little bit. Operating systems are written in some source code, and we listed some languages today. They're compiled into an executable code, something the machine understands, and then that's linked. We bring in other pieces of code, so to speak, and then you eventually create an executable. And when that program is executed and brought into the memory, then it's running, and now we have a process running in memory. We did some work on the machines with addressing, and we talked a little bit about partitions, partitioning a hard drive for your installs, and we talked a little bit about Windows 10, creating an image on some bootable, either a flash drive or a DVD. And then Wednesday we're going to do the installs. Do the installs, and we'll review also Chapter 9. So that's it.